My most favorite video game accessory is the controller. I love searching around online for brand new game controllers that I haven't seen before. Some of them can look very sleek and sharp, while others can look very interesting and unconventional. And then there's this controller. It looks a little different, but it does have the same formula that you see in most of the mainstream controllers. So what sets this controller apart? Well, what if I told you this controller works with your PC, and your smartphone, and your tablet, and your Apple device, and your TV box, and your streaming device, and your Raspberry Pi, and your PS3, and so many more devices. This is the GameSir G3s controller. The reason why it's able to function across so many different systems is because it's not just a wired, wireless, or even a Bluetooth controller. It's all three of those combined, managed by a built-in 32-bit MCU chip that can allow you to switch between any of these signals on the fly. If you're interested in buying the G3s controller for yourself, I provided a link to Amazon where you can purchase the same bundle that I did. But what's so good about this controller? It's just another third-party controller made by some unknown company, right? Well, it's definitely a lot more than that. This controller is made with high-quality materials, but it still has a light weight to it. It takes most of its ideas from the design of the DualShock 4, having a very similar shape and layout to it. But GameSir also took some notes from Microsoft's Xbox One controller, using a more grippy material for the analog stick caps, and also a pair of handles that are more angled, unlike the cylindrical grips of the DualShock 4 controller. The G3s also includes two totally new buttons, one for programming a turbo function on one of the other buttons, and the other to clear the current turbo setting. Now let's get into the more interesting part, that onboard MCU chip. In order to start syncing things up, you first have to turn on the controller, and whoa, okay, that's cool. If the lights are a distraction for you, the instructions included show how to disable them. But anyway, by pressing and holding different combinations of buttons, you'll enable one of the G3s's connection types. The current connection setting is also lit up on the bottom of the controller using 4 different marked indicators. I'm going to try it out on my PC first using the 2.4 GHz USB dongle. The manual includes directions on how to pair the controller to whichever device you're using it with. In this case, I'll follow the directions to pair the G3s into X input mode for PCs. If you are familiar with X input, it's basically an API that allows Windows programs to recognize the inputs of an Xbox 360 controller. Let's go ahead and try it out on Need for Speed Most Wanted. And I have to say the controls feel very good. I didn't experience any perceivable lag while playing the game. So far, I do have a couple of small nitpicks. The first problem I have is with the analog sticks. They feel like they don't have quite enough resistance. After playing for a bit, I don't really notice it as much, but still. My second gripe is that the face buttons are very noisy. Hopefully you'll be wearing headphones while you're playing, because these things have a pretty loud click to them. That's enough of the PC for now. This time we're gonna try out an Android phone. We'll be switching over to the Bluetooth connection type by using a different button combination. Once we do, the controller will broadcast a Bluetooth signal that can be scanned using other devices. My phone locates the signal and I can pair them up just like any other Bluetooth device. And there you have it. Now we can control the Android OS using the controller. We can also take this nicely included controller attachment for the G3s and mount the phone to it. They've even included a short double-sided mini USB cable. That way you can have the option of plugging the controller directly into your phone. It's like GameSir has already thought of every scenario. When using Android, we also gain an additional control option. By pressing Select and X at the same time, we activate mouse mode, which allows us to navigate touchscreens very easily using the analog stick. This is excellent for devices such as Android TV boxes, which allow you to navigate apps that might not have controller support built into them. Oddly enough, though, mouse mode can't be enabled when the G3s is connected to a PC. Next, let's try out what's possibly the most interesting of the connection types, which is for the PS3. Once you have the G3s set up to PS3 pairing mode, you can either plug it in with the USB cable, or you can play wirelessly by plugging the USB dongle into the PS3. Once it's connected, the button response time is flawless. If there's any issue with using the G3s on the PlayStation 3, it would be that the controller doesn't have 6-axis support. There aren't many games that use the feature, but it's still something to keep in mind. The last connection type is for the iOS platform. Unfortunately, I don't actually own an iOS device to test this with. We're going to have to skip that one, but GameSir has included directions on how to connect it. With that, we've basically covered every important detail with the G3s controller, but let's do a little experiment before I give my final thoughts. I own a wide variety of video game systems. Since the G3s has so many different connection types, I'm going to attempt to plug it into a handful of my systems to see if it will work. I don't think it will in most cases, but there's no harm in giving it a shot. We're going to be testing 5 different systems, but first let's try the Xbox 360. As we can see, nothing happens. I tried changing between the different wireless connection modes and it made no difference. How about trying the Wii next? And we get nothing. Not a surprise though. You can't really just plug a controller into any video game system and expect it to work. Of course, that's not gonna stop me anyway. So how about the Wii U? Well, I have to confess, I did try using it off camera and it didn't work. I decided not to try it a second time because the front ports on the Wii U have some kind of death grip, and it took me half an hour to pry the G3s dongle out of it. In fact, the dongle probably got damaged a little bit from trying to get it out. So just as a warning, don't plug any small devices into the front USB ports of the Wii U. If you do, you're gonna be a pretty sad camper. I have some pretty high hopes for the last two systems. Let's try the PlayStation Vita TV. And it doesn't work. I'll be honest, this actually surprised me. I thought that since the G3s can act as a DualShock 3 controller that it would work, but it actually won't even sync to the dongle. Perhaps the USB port on the Vita TV doesn't function the same way the USB ports on the PS3 do. This is my last test, and I'm fully confident that this one will actually work. That's right. And there we go. This one was going to be pretty obvious though. The Ouya is based on the Android operating system, and the G3s was built to be able to play on Android. I'm still very happy to see it though. If you own an Ouya, the G3s will be a great controller to use for it. So we've had a chance to try out the GameSir G3s controller a bit, and we've seen how it functions, if at all, across quite a few systems. But is it worth your time? Well, in my opinion, that depends on what you're going to be using it for and how much you pay for it. The G3s comes in a few bundles, and I've seen a $20 bundle that includes the controller, USB dongle, and USB charging cable. Apparently this is only a sale price, but as of the date of this video, I haven't seen the prices budge at all. The controller itself is of premium quality, and it does have quite a few great features to it. But if I were to recommend it, I'd say you'll get the best use out of it as a controller for your iOS or Android devices. Its versatility, quality, and familiarity will make it the prime choice for playing games on your mobile devices and TV boxes. But as for the PC and PlayStation 3, the DualShock 3, Xbox 360, and Xbox One controllers just can't be beat. While the G3s is very well made, it can't match up to the quality that Microsoft and Sony have already put into their own controllers. And that covers the video for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm loving the feedback I've been getting recently, and it's only going to help improve the channel further. The next couple of videos are already planned out, but new ideas and suggestions are always welcome, so go ahead and post them in the comments. And if you haven't gotten the chance to already, go ahead and subscribe down below as well. Time for me to head out now. Pokemon Sun and Moon just came out, and well, let's say I'm going to be showing off something pretty awesome for the 3DS in the next couple of weeks. This is Dr. Modelot. See you all next time.